It's literally right there. My very high-tech script clip. Hi, everyone. This is Laura from the future to let Laura from the past know your mic is going to cut out 30 seconds into this video. I'm not going to refilm it. I have other videos I want to make. I can't believe I didn't notice until 30 minutes into filming. Pretty mad about it. So anyway, the video's still funny. You still get to learn all about Pablo Escobar. It's crazy. So yeah, enjoy. Sorry, Laura. You're just going to have to deal with the shitty audio, but you're already on the other side of it. The hippopotamus, the river horse, the African water beast. These massive beasts once roamed the African plains in numbers topping the hundreds of thousands, though recently their numbers have dwindled. In fact, this herd is comprised of only 200 individuals. But this video wasn't taken in Africa. It was taken in Colombia, and it depicts a rare subspecies of hippo that's threatening the local environment. A more evil hippo than even that stupid little bog witch that voted for Trump. I'm talking, of course, about the infamous cocaine hippo. No, they're not hippos that do cocaine, or even hippos stuffed with cocaine in the world's most Looney Tunes smuggling operation ever concocted. No, these are the descendants of 4 very busy hippos. Hippos that once belonged to the king of cocaine himself, Pablo Escobar. Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. This is kind of a ridiculous story, but when I decided to start a YouTube channel, I knew this had to be top of my list. If you're new to my channel, which I know you are because this is my first video, I do have an introduction video, which you can click wherever it ends up being. But to make a long story short, I was a victim of the gaming layoffs of 2024. I'm a game designer, but I've been out of a job since I was laid off in August of 2024. And the job market's really rough right now, and I can't afford to sit around and wait for it to get better. So I'm trying something different. I'm gonna talk to you about cocaine hippos and other fun stuff. I hope you stick around for it. Every little bit of support counts, so if you could subscribe, hit that notification bell, or even just leave a like and a comment, that would mean the world to me. And if you're having a better new year than me this year, I do have my Patreon linked down in the description. I have $1 and $5 tiers, and you can get all sorts of fun stuff, like getting your name in the credits or voting on upcoming videos. I'm really excited, and I hope you all choose to join me on this amazing journey. And now, without further ado, let's continue the ballad of the cocaine hippo. For those of you unfamiliar, Pablo Escobar was one of the most controversial, influential, and successful drug kingpins of all time. Also, he was elected to the Colombian parliament in 1987. They really loved coke in the 80s. Don't get too excited though. He did marry a 15-year-old when he was 26. Born in 1949, Escobar was the third of 7 children. Raised in poverty, he dropped out of school when he was 17. He did attend some college on a forged diploma, nice, before turning to a life of high-stakes criminal activity, like selling illegal cigarettes and forging lottery tickets. He did eventually graduate to some more dastardly deeds, though, like stealing cars and, holding people for ransom, and then murder, in service of the other drug cartels in the area. By 1976, however, Escobar knew an exploitable niche when he saw one, and he wanted to get in on the drug cartel business from the top. He founded his own cartel, the Medellin cartel, named for his hometown. They specialized in smuggling powder cocaine from Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador into Colombia and through to the United States. The Medellin cartel's monopoly on powder cocaine meant that by the mid-1980s, Escobar was the wealthiest man on the planet. Side note, how do you start a cartel? Is it just like a sign-up sheet? Is it one of those little flyers with like numbers at the bottom? You can just like take a number. Interested in joining one of the greatest criminal drug operations of all time? Call Pablo. Can you still do that? Or is it more like in the 1970s you could just kind of tape a piece of paper to your cardboard clubhouse of criminals and call it a cartel? Do you guys want to start a cartel? Escobar never forgot his impoverished roots and was known as a hero to the poor, even while he ran his cartel with an iron fist and lots of murder. He used his millions of blood money to develop Medellin's poorest neighborhoods, building churches. He used his millions of blood money to build churches, houses, schools, and football fields. I guess everything was better in the 80s, including their evil billionaires. And this one's a straight up murderer. Instead, we just get this. I'm sure Pablo Escobar killed at least a couple people with his own hands, and even though Musk is probably responsible for the deaths of millions at this point, where's the pizzazz, the funk? If you're gonna be a billionaire, you're already a murderer, so you might as well kill someone with your own bare hands, right? Instead of being a pussy about it. This is sponsored by Del Taco. It's not really, but I live really close to the Del Taco headquarters, so Del Taco, if you're listening, I will do a partnership with you. I love their churros. This is just I love the Del Taco churros. They're amazing. They're crisp. If you have not gotten this is a plea. This is a plea from me to you. If you haven't gotten the Del Taco churros and you live somewhere where there is a Del Taco, you need to go. I'm telling you to turn off this video right now and go drive down to your Del Taco and get the 2 churros because they taste better than Disneyland's churros. I don't even get churros at Disneyland anymore because these are better. Anyway. He also used his wealth to develop his own personal paradise, Hacienda Nápoles. I tried to film this video 3 times and I did a little gag where I pulled up the pronunciation thing, but I know how to pronounce it now, and so I can't. It was funny the first time, but now that we're on take 3, I'm just not gonna do it. I'll be funny in other videos. Hacienda Nápoles is where Escobar publicly and openly lived throughout the 1980s. The cops didn't care. I am not qualified to speak on any sort of law enforcement situation in Colombia. If any of you viewers are, you can tell me if there were even cops in the 80s in Colombia, because I don't think there were. The property spanned almost 8 square miles and lay about 100 miles east of Medellin. In a fashion similar to other South American drug lords of the time, he wanted to dazzle his guests with his larger-than-life image. It's not like people didn't know he was a drug cartel leader, and it's not like they didn't care. It was just a really cool mansion, and they were living in rural Colombia in the 1980s, so give them a break. I would have done the same. Hacienda Nápoles at its peak contained a Spanish colonial house, a sculpture garden, a waterfall, luxury car and bike showrooms, a brothel, oh no, a private airport, a Formula One racing track, and a complete zoo featuring antelope, giraffe, exotic birds, ponies, and of course, the infamous hippos. No. I don't want to say the full word hippopotamus. The cocaine hippopotamus. It doesn't have the same ring to it. I did research this. I tried to see how many people were working at the hacienda at its peak, but I couldn't find any numbers. It's not like he was reporting it to the Colombian version of the IRS, but, you know, I was hoping somebody had researched this more thoroughly. What I really wanted to know was, is the brothel like a full-time thing? Were the girls there full-time? Or was it more like a pop-up thing? Did they get benefits? Health insurance? Can you get fired for being shitty at sex work? Not that I think it's shitty to do sex work, I just think that if you're bad at it, you know, and it's not for you, they have to pull you into the room and they're like, you know, we really wanted to see some improvement from you in the last couple of weeks and we just haven't seen it and we're gonna have to let you go. Hacienda Nápoles is the kind of place that would have had its own private Starbucks if Starbucks existed in Colombia in the 1980s. And it wouldn't be the first private Starbucks in service to an evil billionaire. And I've been to one! He welcomed guests and local Medellin residents alike to his menagerie, free of charge. Many Colombians that grew up around the time have fond memories of visiting with their family. I did read somewhere that they had like little electric jeeps that they could ride through on like a safari because it wasn't like they had enclosures for the animals. They did kind of roam free. I don't know if, spoilers, that's still the case. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Colombia sounds fucking sick, by the way. Pablo. They didn't even have to pretend that their Walt Disney wasn't an evil capitalist. They just thought a zoo was neat and that was enough. It would be enough for me. However, all this Robin Hooding came to an end about 20 some odd years after it began, after Escobar's death in a US-led shootout in 1993. The question remained of what would become of Hacienda Nápoles and who would take control of the property. His surviving relatives battled it out with the government, but much like the law, the government won, and took control of the property by 2006. However, from 1993 to 2006, the estate was left abandoned as the aforementioned property dispute raged on. I found conflicting reports, but supposedly, immediately after the closure of the estate in 1993, all of the more docile animals were rounded up and donated to other zoos in South America. But Other sources say that they remained there until 2006 when the government took control of the property. There is one thing we can be sure of though, and that's that the hippos never left. And I hear you, why can't we just pick them up? Aren't they herbivores? They're big water cows. Aren't they just as docile as the giraffes and the horses and stuff? No. No.
No, God!
Hippos may look docile, but this is an animal that weighs 4,000 pounds and has serious attitude problems. Hippos kill 500 humans annually. Take that in. Why are 500 people choosing to fuck with hippos annually? That's more than one person dying to a hippo every single day. So if anyone is viewing from hippo territory, which presently is only Colombia and Africa, but if you're from the future, it could be more or less than that, I really don't know. Stay away from the hippos! They are not going to get you in your house. Stop going to the hippo's house. That's what HIPAA law is, by the way. It's don't go to a hippo's house so that they can maintain their privacy. So the Colombian government decided to leave the hippos alone. Probably the wisest decision considering that the Colombian police hippo wrangling department wouldn't be formed until 2018. Not even the Colombian government wanted to fuck with these hippos. And they have a drug cartel problem. That's how mean hippos are. From 1993 to 2006, the hippos were free to roam the property without supervision. They started with 4. By 2007, there were 16 hippos on the compound. At this point, they started to branch out to the local Magdalena River for food. The Colombian government didn't know it then, but the hippo situation was already completely out of control. These horny hippos were out there printing new hippos, and there wasn't a damn thing you, me, or the Colombian government could do about it. The floodgates had already been released, floodgates containing hundreds of more hippos. The hippo apocalypse was already nigh the second Pablo Escobar hit the ground. In 2007, there were 16 hippos. By 2014, scientists were able to count 40 hippos. By 2019, the hippo pod had expanded its numbers to over 100 individuals, covering over 800 square miles of the Magdalena River basin. It's estimated that right now, there's anywhere between 200 to 300 hippos floating around in Colombia, and there's nothing you can do about it. Numbers are expected to reach over 1,000 hippos by 2035, assuming we all make it that long. I wasn't kidding when I said they were horny hippos. As their numbers grew, the question that was high in every Colombian's mind was, what do we do with these hippos? They're not a native species. Even when their numbers were small, scientists were concerned about the ecological impact that a giant water horse from half a planet away might have on the fragile ecosystem. The other problem was, in the years since the hacienda was abandoned, the hippos became a local tourist attraction. They had names, the locals would feed them, they had become village pets. The original 4 were part of the town. So even though they posed a significant threat to both the local wildlife and the local population, convincing the people that the hippos needed to go was going to be an issue. So the government took the most rational, even-headed, measured response. In 2009, the Colombian government successfully tracked down and killed Pepe, one of the 4 original hippos. This was a success for the scientists and conservationists, but as soon as photos of Pepe's body hit the newspapers, the public outcry was swift and severe. Look, I get it. No one likes seeing dead animals, especially not the big, iconic ones we're taught to care about. I mean, aren't hippos endangered? In Africa? Also, no, they're just threatened. Yay, round of applause for the hippos. They're no longer endangered. This is a side note. Pandas aren't endangered either. Yay, let's give it up for the hippos and the pandas. And they're herbivores. What kind of damage could they possibly be doing? Well, the damage. The presence of the hippos have introduced concerning levels of cyanobacteria to the waters of the Magdalena River. This could lead to algae blooms and further degradation of the already scarce nutrients. A 4,000-pound animal needs to eat a lot, and other than your mom, hippos are not the only large aquatic mammal that the Magdalena River needs to support. The Magdalena River is home to, well, the Magdalena River turtle, the West Indian manatee, and the Dall's River turtle, all of which compete for food directly with the hippos. They're also a lot less cute and well-known than the majestic hippopotamus. That fact alone has led to one of the most ridiculous ecological versus animal rights debates of all time. On the one side, you have the educated and informed scientists, conservationists, and ecologists, all of whom say that the hippos are damaging the local ecosystem and they need to be removed by whatever means necessary. They shouldn't have been here in the first place, and so they need to go. On the other hand, you have animal rights activists and people who just like hippos, who don't want them to go because they're cute. And this one was named Pepe. They're our friends, they're our village pets. They should be allowed to damage the local ecosystem however much their little hippo hearts desire, because killing them would be cruel. I mean, keeping them alive would be kind of cruel to the West Indian manatee and the Dall's river turtle and the Magdalena river turtle, right? They've gone as far as citing studies about the ecological benefits of the hippopotamus in Africa. They're in Colombia! So far, however, the animal rights activists seem to be winning this fight, but only because the Colombian government has had very little luck in eradicating even a small portion of the hippo herd. After the outcry following the Pepe debacle, culling was put on hold. Instead, the idea of castrating the males was put forth, but in 2017, they were only able to successfully capture and castrate a single adult male. And that cost them $50,000. That might not be a lot for US spending, but for Colombia, that's too much. Further sterilization tactics were attempted, up to and including a weird birth control blow dart thing, but animal rights activists interfered and filed a lawsuit on behalf of the hippos. This is a crazy legal defense that actually sometimes works out in the United States, but even though it passed, it doesn't hold much weight in Colombia. All it succeeded in doing was buying more time for the hippos to make more hippos. In 2023, it was announced that 70 of the hippos would be captured and relocated to zoos in Mexico and India. If you've been following along at home, you know that that's not enough hippos. There's like 200 hippos out there, so capturing 70 of them, it's not going to make a difference. Hippos can have a baby every year, so they can multiply exponentially. That leaves almost 200 hippos floating down the Magdalena River and walking through town. Seriously, the hippos have been getting into the town of Medellin, startling residents. One even wandered onto a schoolyard and all the kids and everyone ran away. But they still don't want to get rid of the hippos. The only guy who's ever been attacked by one of them even said that it was his fault. So they'll run away in fear when they walk into their parking lots and schoolyards, but when you try to take them away, they're like, no. I get it though, I've been there. As of now, the plan is to sterilize around 40 hippos a year and resume relocation and culling efforts. But still, scientists estimate that there could be as many as 300 hippos currently out there in the jungles of Colombia. And there's not a whole lot Colombia can do about it. Oh, and remember how I mentioned that the government took control of the property in 2006? It's a theme park now. Oh yeah. You can get a ticket down to Colombia right now and go visit the home of the king of cocaine himself, Pablo Escobar. Fun for the whole family. I'm dead serious, by the way. It's like 3 hours by car, but a lot of the locals seem to really enjoy it. They have a water park, they have a museum of all the atrocities Pablo committed, they still have all his luxury bikes and cars, just charred husks now after the aforementioned US-led shootout, bombing raids that took place on the compound. I'm sure they double-checked for hidden drugs and weapons before letting a bunch of kids in their swimsuits wander around, right? Oh, and there is still at least one hippo left on the property itself. Her name is Vanessa. I love Vanessa. I love Vanessa the hippo so much. I would die for Vanessa the hippo. I love that her name is Vanessa, first of all. That's a people name. That's not a hippo name. Pepe was kind of on the border. It could be a human name or a person name. Like when I think of Pepe, I honestly think of like the Taco Bell Chihuahua. Does that make me old now? I really don't know. But fuck, when did my mic turn off? God damn it. Well, my mic turned off like in the middle of that recording, and this is the third time I've recorded this video, and I'm about to go get dinner, so even though this is going to be one of the first videos on my channel, I'm just not going to redo the audio. I don't know about you, but I'm going to go book a flight to Colombia right now so I can go meet Vanessa the hippo. Do they have fast passes for the Vanessa meet and greet? If there's not a corny 4D film about cocaine that pokes me in the butt and then makes it feel like there's mice running across my feet and then spritzes me in the face with water, I'm gonna leave them a negative Yelp review. Anyway, if you've watched this far into the video, even with my crappy audio, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you found the story of Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos as interesting as I did, and I hope you tune in and stick around for the next one. Please, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a like or a comment. It really helps me grow the channel, and I'm doing this to try and support myself. So thank you so much.